Today we're looking at restoring brokenness, and certainly it's been special part of my life. So we are grateful to be able to do some great things today for this dream chaser success stories.
Be good. Be very good.
I have to be good. I really do have to be good. I do
Yes,
have to be good. I do, right, Bishop? I have to be good.
yes,
And
yeah,
today I have Bishop on the show today. I want to welcome him to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
absolutely. Thank you for inviting us to do that.
Oh,
Yes.
definitely. So, Bishop T.E. Payne, let me ask you a question. You know, you do have a book that is out, and I want to get right into it and absolutely love it. Restoring the Brokenness. And we all
Yes.
know that there's a lot of brokenness going on around here,
Yes,
and
it
we
is.
need to restore it. What kind of prompted you? What was it that led you, besides the Most High Creator, to actually write this book and put it down on paper?
What started this was years ago. I think when I was uh, about 5 years old, and it started then with my stuttering, and I stuttered tremendously bad. You wouldn't believe how bad I stuttered.
Mm,
But at the end of all of that, there's a process I went through. But when I came out of that process, the Lord had healed me and restored me. And if it done for me, I felt so encouraged to that it will help somebody else. I felt somebody else may be going through the same thing I went through, or something else might have been even worse or different. It might have been, rather than stuttering for me, it might have been drugs. It might have been a job, loss of family, numerous amount of things. But uh, I was led to go ahead and write this book. Hopefully, they will help somebody else out to go through what they were going through to show them they can be restored as well.
sweet, sweet. So,
Yeah.
what does brokenness mean to you, like personally and spiritually?
Well, brokenness for me was the stuttering. That
Mm,
I was broken. That was brokenness for me. Was the stuttering I had. You wouldn't believe how bad I stuttered. Um, no one ever thought that I spoke that bad. I'm normally a quiet guy because I didn't want to speak unless I had to. But so far as physically or personally, it was my stuttering. Spiritually, brokenness to me would be if I was disconnected from God.
mhm.
But I found myself I couldn't make it without the Lord. So, but that's what it is spiritually if I disconnect with the Lord. But personally, it's really my stuttering that separated me from a lot of other people, a lot of situations in life.
Mm. Mhm, mm. You know, people go through this. A lot of people go through the things that they think that, and it's sad. I'm going to say this: it's
Hmm.
sad because
Yes,
everybody has something that they have to
yes,
overcome, and it's
yes.
sad to see that you feel like as if, or you felt as if this would have been a moment for you to be broken when it was
Hmm.
actually just an issue that you had to overcome. You know,
Right.
how do you help someone believe restoration is possible when you feel that broken, when you feel that hopeless?
Hmm. When I feel that hopeless, it's like uh, I just believe that in my heart of hearts that the brokenness that I had and the hopeless that I had is sort of like I watched a basketball game here that came on for the New York Knicks. Was your fan name or not against the Spurs?
Mhm,
But the two of those games was at the throughout. I was at Bible study. Actually, it was last Wednesday,
mhm.
and when I got home, I turned on the television, began to look at the game, and on the game at that time, the third quarter, they were 29 points behind. This is New York Knicks. They were 29 points in the rear, and and the camera scanned over the audience, and the people began to just look really hopeless. Look really, we can't make this. But then that was the third quarter. By the fourth quarter, it wasn't 29, but it was 27. As time went on throughout that fourth quarter, they came from 29 to 27 to winning the game
Wow.
with the last point. And then here it is at the end of the game, and he shoots up a point, and then he makes just they're able to clear it and win it by 1 point. But
One
had they
point.
remained hopeless, then they wouldn't have accomplished anything. So likewise in our life, we can't stay hopeless. We got to just believe God that we're going to get out of this and be successful and be winners at the whole thing by the end of the day.
I agree with
Don't forget to follow us on YouTube and Instagram. Thank you for watching.
it is something that I've always felt like hopelessness, right? But
Mm-hmm.
there's a difference between healing and restoration.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say the differences are between healing and restoration?
You know, now I was healed of this, and then I was restored.
Mm,
Uh, God healed me of it, but it was a process of praying. Other people prayed for me, yeah, but I had to really pray and
mhm,
believe God. So I was healed from that. But then the restoration means He restored me to the place that I should have been. You
mhm.
know, from the beginning, God knew my life history. He already knew that in a matter of time that I'm going to be where He wants me to be. But then that's the process of restoring.
Right.
Restoring means that I'm gonna restore you and bring back to all the things that you went through, and you're gonna be better than what you started. I was in church one day, and the Lord just told me, He spoke one word into my life, said restoration should be a part of your church
Mm,
name. Uh, I said, all right, and then but then before that, my job during the summer as a high school child son, then I my job was restoring cars.
mm,
People would trade in their cars,
mhm,
and they would buy a new car, trade in their old dirty car,
mhm.
and the motor had mud and oil and grease piled on it. Then I
Oof.
had a steam machine. I could steam that engine and make it look brand new.
Oh, wow.
And then I would tear out the uh, if the carpet was dirty, I would shampoo that, clean out under the seats, around the seats, and then polish on the outside, shining like brand new. When they would come back to that same detail shop and look at to buy a new car or have their car serviced, they would look again at that same one they traded in, and they would be excited when they saw it, as if they're ready to buy it again.
Oh, wow.
That's the same way that I felt when I saw a soul come to church. They had been through a lot of stuff. But then when at the end of the day, when they got saved and God restored them and healed them, they looked a world of difference. And that's the same way I look at healing and restoration. God can bring us through that. And that's the, that's a significant difference. It goes together, your healing and your restoration. It kind of goes together as a package deal. That's
Yeah.
what it was in my life. So that's why I believe others as well.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
You know, that is a big deal because a lot of people look at what's on the outside. They see
Hmm.
the dirt, they see the grime, they see the wear and tear, they see everything, but on the inside of that
Hmm.
person
Yeah.
is someone you don't know, someone you
Mhm.
haven't seen in a while, and
Right.
all they need is encouragement to go
Hmm.
forward and a little bit of determination from
Yes.
you to help that person could
Hmm.
change them. You know, why do you think people hide their brokenness instead of bringing it to God?
Well, people hide their brokenness a lot of times, I think, out of pride. They
Mm,
they uh, they don't want to bring it to God, because if I brought my problems only to God, then I got to tell other people what's wrong with me. Why am I broken? Why am I this way? And a lot of people don't want that to be known, because if I take it to God, the other people will pray for me. What's your problem? Then they'll try to work on my problem. But the truth of the matter is giving time to God and getting rid of that pride, because pride will hold you up from doing what you need to do.
mhm.
Pride will keep you from getting healed, delivered, and set free. So you got to get rid of pride in order to get your restoration and your victory done in the right manner of time. Yeah, pride can hold
Wow.
you back.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you are your worst enemy. I mean,
Yes.
literally, you could be
Yeah.
just the one person holding you back is yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
crazy. That is absolutely
Absolutely.
crazy.
Yeah.
And, so many people blame other people
Yes.
for, being held back and not being able
Hmm.
to move forward and this and that. But if you really truly look at it, it's the complaining that I don't like, because I
Hmm.
do feel like whenever I'm complaining about something, I should be pointing at myself, because
Mm.
they're not thinking about me.
Mhm.
They've
Yes.
they've
Mhm.
moved on, and here I am.
Going with their business.
Yep,
Yes.
yep, they're minding their own
Yes.
business, they're
Yes.
gone, they've been gone a long time ago,
Yes.
and here I am still stuck in my pattern. I mean,
Yeah.
wow. What does
Mhm.
so now that brings on another subject, forgiveness.
Mhm.
Forgiveness, like, if you feel like this is somebody holding you back, how can you forgive that person so that you can be restored? What role does that play in restoration?
It plays Forgiveness play a vital, important part,
Mm,
simply because, um, even Jesus was on the cross being crucified, right?
mhm,
And while they were crucifying him, he prayed to the Father, Father, forgive them, for they really don't know what they're doing. And
mhm.
and so it is. If Jesus had to be crucified and yet his life being taken, he asked the Father to forgive them. That's what we need to do, because forgiveness is a vital part to this whole process of restoration. If you still got it in your heart, be angry at somebody because of what they did, then it leaves us at a point that our restoration might be hindered. So I don't
Yeah,
want anything to hinder what God has in line for us,
hallelujah.
because God has some great things for us. Yeah.
That's right, and that's
Hmm.
why I said, a lot of people they get so frustrated, "Oh, he's
Hmm.
holding me back.
Yeah.
You can't get ahead. You can't get ahead. Can't get ahead."
Hmm.
I hear that all
Right.
the time, and I'm like, I don't know if that applies to me, because
Yeah.
I've done nothing but get ahead.
Right. Right.
So,
Right.
where are you in the whole scope of things?
Right.
You know, I
Yeah.
think that, someone can heal,
Hmm.
but how can someone begin to heal when a person who hurt them never apologizes? I mean, they've moved on. They don't even remember what they did sometimes, and you try to
Right.
remind them, and they're like, "Oh,
Right.
come
Mm.
on."
Right.
How do you move forward?
Um, you move forward because the person that done you wrong don't realize they did you wrong.
Yeah.
Uh, Now, for me, um, this started, and I was 5 years old, this stuttering thing. But then now I'm a teenager and at a youth program at church,
Mhm.
and I was supposed to sing a song. I stuttered bad, but
Mhm.
once I started the song, I could
You
keep
were
singing.
got you. You were okay.
The
Mhm.
stuttering didn't hinder me, but once I
Mhm.
started, but it's the fact of getting started.
Mhm.
So it was somebody in the church, near the front of the church, that found it funny while my mouth was opening and nothing coming out.
Really?
And uh, I was hurt for a minute, but I just kept pushing until I got the first word out.
Mhm.
My school teacher taught me this song. To me, it's so wonderful to know that Jesus is mine.
Mhm.
So I had a hard time getting the word "to" out just to get it started.
Mhm.
But this individual thought it was extremely funny So I didn't stop. I kept trying until I got the words out and sang the song.
Mm-mm-mm.
He didn't know he'd done wrong.
Right.
To his mind, I was just laughing because it was funny. But,
Yeah.
let me add this to it. He, in another situation as well, after I became pastor, I was the one that done his eulogy.
What?
I had to do his eulogy, but I never, my parents that wasn't there never knew about it.
Mm.
People that had offended me from the church, then I turned around and years later, after God restored me, healed me,
Mm-hmm.
I became the pastor.
Wow.
And now today I'm the bishop. I
You
had to go
know,
through classes for all of that.
come
But,
on now.
so I never I never mentioned it in a meaningful way. I never went back to remind them what you did. I forgot
Mm-hmm.
about that.
Mm-hmm.
That's forgiveness, and forget about it and just move ahead to what God had in store for us. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And I always tell people God has a sense of humor.
Yes.
You just don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, I don't put
That's right.
anyone down. I don't put anyone down.
No,
I don't
no,
make
don't
fun
have
of
time.
anyone. No, I
Mm-mm.
don't. I don't have you
Mm.
don't know how much time you got, and if you're
Right,
wasting it on that, that is pathetic.
right.
To me, that doesn't make
That's
any sense,
trouble.
but
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, just leave those people
Mhm.
alone. Just leave
Yep.
everybody alone. You don't know who's gonna be over you when you get older.
That's right.
And since
That's right.
God does have a sense of humor, it could be your
Mhm.
boss.
That's right. Ooh,
That would not be good. So,
no.
yeah, that might be the gatekeeper for the
Mhm.
profession that you wanna get into. Just
That's right.
don't do it. Just don't do it. Just
Mhm.
respect everybody and love everybody and hope
Yes.
and pray. Faith is something that can rebuild after an
Mm.
emotional pain. How does that help? I know it can, but how?
How does help rebuild?
Yeah.
When you going through something, by being a believer, I believe the scripture says in Hebrews chapter 11, verse 6, he says, without faith, it is impossible to please God.
Mhm.
Without that faith. So I need that faith that in spite of what you go through, you got to have faith in God. So scripture says, without faith, it's impossible to please him. So this faith, even though prayer came, even though God's doing what he's doing, even though we've gone through little small situations here and there, but faith can help you rebuild what the enemy tries to tear up and destroy. That's the faith that we have. We have to rely on faith. I mean,
Mhm.
faith is just what I live by. Matter of fact, when we built a new sanctuary, and in that sanctuary, it's 2 or 3 places in the scripture talk about without faith it's impossible to please him. So
Mhm.
my life has been based upon faith. We've done some things that may have been impossible on a normal realm, but through faith, God can work those things out. And can we rebuild your life, rebuild your place where trouble have come, where trials been through, but you
Mhm.
can rebuild all of that through faith in God. Yeah, I just totally live by it. I live by it daily. Uh, so you can make some turns and rebuild some stuff in your life that seem to
Mhm.
be impossible with somebody else, but with God, it'll work out. It will work. It has worked out for me, so I believe it work out for others as well.
It's amazing. You're
Yeah.
right. You're totally right. Can someone though okay. Can someone build, like, their purpose or, kind of like, I don't know, can it become a part, like your brokenness become a part of your purpose? Like, I've seen it before, but how does that work positively for a person? Because I've seen it break down some people and I've seen it
Hmm.
work for some people.
Hmm. Um, your brokenness. Sometimes it's because of your brokenness. Then God can just show your purpose,
Mhm.
but you don't see your purpose in the midst of your brokenness, but you can see your purpose after he take us through your brokenness.
Mhm.
And if God can take you to it, then he can take you through it. And on the other side of the storm, other side of your brokenness, that's when you'll find your purpose. And
Mm.
for me, I think when I went through the stuttering, when I went through this or that in life, then on the other side of that, God said, now write the book to show
Mm.
somebody else how they can come out of it as well.
Yeah.
So, and nobody in our church has written a book before. Nobody
Mm.
in our communities have ever written a book before. So I was the first one to try it. Perfectly know everybody have difficulties here and there, but knowing going through what God allowed me to go through, and
Mm-hmm.
then He bring you out of it. Now tell somebody. And I think if you look through scriptures, Paul and Silas were locked up in jail, but God got them out, and now write about it to tell other people about it.
Mm-hmm.
Every disciple the Lord ever had, they did what they did. On the other side of their storm, there was a purpose. And the purpose was tell somebody else how you can come through a storm and God can bring you out of it. Yes. And I know that to be true. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, my goodness, this is wonderful. I love it. I love the book. The book is called Restoring
Hmm.
Brokenness, and I absolutely love that. And I want to thank you so much for being on the show today. It's like there's a role that needs to be
Hmm.
played, and a lot of communities don't have this
Hmm.
role. What
Hmm.
what role does community or church support play in restoration? That support. Now, they've done studies on these things, and I believe they're called the blue or green zones, where people live past 100
Hmm.
years old because
Hmm.
of that support. But I need you to tell people what that is about.
The role of community and church is of vital importance. It's been said many, many times before. It takes a village to raise a child.
Oh yeah.
And so as we come together, would everybody in church be perfect? Everybody in the community be perfect? That's not necessarily so.
Mhm.
However, uh, the completeness and solidarity of the community and of the church, it is of vital importance. And those persons are not so perfect, then we as believers can build up support around those individuals that need it even the more. I'm totally believe that the church is important, and the believers in the community are vital importance, and
Mm.
we'll keep that importance going stronger so that at the end of the day, that child, that individual that struggled, uh, I've been around children that had physical difficulties, and I kind of
Mhm.
made myself friend to them because other people were dogging them out. But I made myself friend to them to help them out in the midst of what they were going through. That's what the job of the community. That's the job of the church. Just don't kick people off to the side because they don't look like you, don't have what you have. But
Mhm.
then that's when we as a people supposed to surround ourselves around them to help them out in the midst of their difficult moments. And then they might be going through a brokenness right there. But
Yeah.
then it's up to us as believers to be a strong support of them so that they'll come out victorious and be restored and be on the other side of the storm and giving God thanks for it. Yes.
My gosh, my gosh. This must have been a really cool way of kind of going through all the things that kind of broke you, and then how it you got restored. What
Mhm.
was the hardest part of writing this book?
I think the hardest part of writing this book was trying to remember the people that did laugh the worst, that did
Mm.
laugh to scorn to worst. And these people, my grandmother, let me say this right quick. My grandmother asked me one time to go borrow something. I come up in a day and time where you borrowed salt, you borrowed sugar, bought an egg here and there. You
Mhm.
borrowed it. So I went into
Yeah.
that home, and it was about three people in that home at the time. They were just sitting around talking, but I went there to ask them I forgot what it was they were asked to borrow. Uh, it took me a long, long time with my mouth just open and nothing coming out but air.
Mm.
And so I finally got out what my grandmother asked to borrow. And then when I couldn't get it out, but they found out what I wanted, then they told me they didn't have it. So I turned around and get ready to leave the home. And before I got the door closed, there was an outburst of laughter. They just laughed because they saw me and heard me stutter like that bad. And when I stood at the door, I mean, after I closed the door, I stood there for half a minute or two, and they could hardly grasp for air after laughing so hard. And I walked back home, and I never told my mother or grandmother what had happened. They died umpteen years ago, and they never knew because I didn't think it was necessary. But those kind of things was the hardest thing for me to write
Wow.
because there too, in that home at that time, was three people, and two of those people died while I was their pastor.
Oh.
And I eulogized them, but never had negative things to say about them. It wasn't my job. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
was hard for me to write, but it was
Wow.
an important part of the writing. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're where
Mhm.
you're at today.
Yeah.
It'll show people that doesn't matter what kind of thing you're going through. You can get through it and
Yeah.
become the one person that you were meant to be. You
Hmm.
got to get through it. And if people laugh at you, it's okay. You just move on. You just keep
Hmm.
going. Keep
That's
going.
it.
Wow. If readers remember only one message from this interview or your book, what is that? What do you hope that would be?
All right. You know, the I want them to remember from chapter 7 of the book. And chapter 7 talks about divine healing. And this remember nothing else for the book. Remember this. I'd gone through military and came out as a sergeant, believe it or not, in 18 months. But now I went back to the job I had before I got drafted. But I was explaining to a young man what had happened to his machine, and because I was his relief guy. So I was explaining to him what had took place that night on his machine. And I stood there again with my mouth open, nothing coming out. He watched me, but he never laughed. He never said anything negative. Then I finally got out what I wanted to say. That night, I was working 4 to 12 shift. After I walked off from him, I told the Lord, okay, I went off into a little closed room that I could find because I was a relief guy, so I was finished for the night. I just had to be there until 12 midnight.
Mhm.
I told the Lord, I am not going to speak another word until you heal me. I said, Lord, so I began
Did that
praying that
work?
night.
I'm sorry,
What?
I had to stop you. Did that work? Because 'Cause I've said that before. That did
Let,
not work. It did not work for me. It did not work.
let me finish. So I told Lord, I'm not going to speak another word until you heal me. So I got off from work at 12 o'clock. I didn't want to speak to anybody on the shift because I walked past and went on out, going out to get ready to come home. I drove my car almost home. It was a little after 12, midnight. And I prayed. The moon was shining, coming over top of a hilltop next to my home. I cut off the engine and I prayed. When I got home, it's about 12:45. My wife had to go to work next morning, so I didn't want to speak to her. I didn't want to speak to any of my children. So I went into bed. I prayed again before I went to bed. Only talking I did was to God. I got up the next morning. I didn't get up. My wife got up to go to work, but I acted like I was asleep because I didn't want to speak to her until I knew I would never stutter again. So she went to work, And then I didn't even call her during the day. But when she got home at 4 o'clock, I had gone back to my 412 shift. But then when I did speak to her the next day, I was talking and she never noticed that he's not stuttering now. But I continued to talk, and then she noticed all of a sudden, what happened? But that story, I mean, that's the part. That's when I stuttered the worst. So if nothing else I want to pick up out of this book, you got to go through life. Chapters 1 through 6 was a process I had to go through. But it got to chapter 7, titled Divine Healing. That divine healing took place. It wasn't a doctor that did it. It wasn't a group of people praying nobody did it. It was me trusting God, having faith in him, that now, God, I won't speak again until you deliver me and heal me. Since that day, God has brought me, I was made a manager at that plant. I was made a supervisor at that plant. I was made a production super trainer for other people at that same site, and worked there for over 30 years until I retired from that and came right back into the church to become the pastor of the same church. It's how God can do it. It works. It works. And that's that same faith you talked about earlier. Faith without, without faith, it's impossible to please him. That's the kind of faith I had to have to ask God that, the Lord, I won't say another word until you heal me. That's the part I hope they take away from this book. If nothing else, you got to take that with it.
Wow. Well, it didn't work for me.
Oh, okay.
But maybe I was asking the wrong thing. You know how
Brother.
your kid is like, no, that's not gonna happen.
Try it again. Just try it again.
Just
Try it
try it
again.
again.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
But wow, Bishop, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate it. You have your book. It's on Amazon and a few other different places. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Yes.
So we're going to put the link in the description so that people can find Restoring the Brokenness by Bishop Theodore Payne. It says T.E. Payne
Yes.
on the what is that? The Amazon. I want to make sure that I'm looking at that properly on Amazon so that when people actually it says Bishop Theodore Payne author. So you want
Yes.
to look for Bishop Theodore Payne author. On the book it says Bishop Theodore Payne. But right here, you have your Bishop T.E. Payne. We're gonna go ahead and make sure that we put that link in the description so that people can actually find that book. And thank you again so much. See, it's Bishop Theodore Payne right underneath you. There it
Yes.
is. Yeah, yeah. So, wow, Bishop, thank you so much again for being here, and I appreciate it. I hope that people really learn that restoring your brokenness can be a possibility. You just have to, know what to do and how to do it, and definitely know
Yes.
how to pray.
Yes. Definitely. Most
Definitely,
definitely. Most
definitely.
definitely.
Is there anything that we've missed today that you would like to say?
Well, we thank you so much, and also it's being redone now, and restored. It's got a different color. You can see it. Yeah, this
Oh,
this is a new one that's out
that's
now.
the new one. Oh my
Yeah, yeah.
gosh.
This is a
That is
new
so
one,
cool. I will have
and
that then.
yeah, it's kind of same name, but it's being redone, and
I like
so we
that.
appreciate picking that up as well. It kind
Develop
of shows
that.
this brokenness, but it's a light on the inside of it
Mhm.
that
Yep, I
will
like
take you
that.
through life. Yeah,
I like
yeah,
that. I like that a lot. I like that a
yeah,
lot, Bishop. Thank you so much for showing that to us. And we're gonna go ahead and put the link to the new book in the
yeah,
description.
yes,
And yeah, yeah, it says it has really good reviews here. 5 stars. You
oh
go,
wow,
Bishop.
all right, okay, well, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
And thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, we're going to put the link to the new book in the description so it'll
yes,
be easy for you
yes,
guys to find it.
yes,
And don't forget to dare to be different. We have real people, real dreams, real wins. Bishop,
yes,
he's a win. He's a
yeah,
win. Definitely a big
yes,
win right
all
here
right,
with Dream Chaser Success Stories with me, your
all
host,
right,
Yaya Diamond. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
thank you.
Thank you. And until next time, guys, bye.
Bye.
Da, da. Thank you for watching.